Welcome everyone. My name is Rilus Dana. Here today we're going to talk about probate and real estate. Last week I did a video and I talked about a checklist and the steps that you should go through when analyzing a real estate transaction when there's a deceased person on the title. So for today's video, what I want to do is we'll do a live Q&A. So if you have any questions, any cases that you're working on that you'd like to discuss, I can pull you into the stream. I get a lot of DMs, a lot of messages, people asking me, to call back when I have a minute or a chance, or asking if I can help with the probate deal. So now is that time. So this is that time to work on all those cases. I finally responded to those messages and DMs, and I sent those people a link. So we'll see if anyone shows up today. Or if you have any comments or questions, you can leave them on the comments, and we'll get to that. Let me find the link here. I'll post the link in the stream so you guys can join us on the video if you have some probate questions or real estate questions. Let's see here. Here it is. Copy. So I'm going to post this. Let's see. Not sure where it posts to. All right, Sean Penn. Let's hear your high level question regarding probate. What is it? Do you want to come on stream and ask the question or ask it in the comments? I just posted the link. You can click on that and that'll bring you in the studio, and then I'll add you to the screen here and we can discuss your probate question. Thanks to everyone watching, those watching live and those watching in the future on the replay. Even if you're watching on the replay, go ahead and leave your comments and questions. And if I don't get to them today, I'll try to get to them in another video. So let's bring Penn into the stream. Let's give him a second. Make sure he's in here. Let's see. Hello, Penn. Are you there?
I am. How you doing, Russ?
Great. I can hear you, but you don't have a camera. You want to remain anonymous?
Not right now.
Okay, cool. So, how'd you where are you watching at? On the YouTube?
I am on YouTube. Yep.
All right, great. And where are you located, Penn?
I am in Beaufort County, South Carolina.
South Carolina. Awesome. So, what's your high level probate question?
All right. So, I'm in direct conversation with the executor of a probate property, and we have a really good relationship. I feel like his brother, the other heir, is a little bit unrealistic on the value of what the home is. So I was considering, is there a possibility that I can buy out other brother's inheritance or the interest in his inheritance? And then that way it would be easier for me to work with the executor on the actual sale price.
Possibly. So I'm not a South Carolina attorney, so I don't know the specifics of their probate process. But how many other beneficiaries are there?
Just the two.
Just the two of them. Now, is anyone living in the property?
No.
So, and what status is the probate in? Meaning, has he been formally appointed, or is he just listed in the will?
Yeah, formally appointed. Pardon me. The executor went on his own behalf and filed probate at the county office by himself, and he's been listed on notice as well. So.
Okay, so you have someone that has the authority to sell.
Yep.
Now that the house is empty.
It is.
Okay. So yeah, the executor, if they have the authority, usually they can just do something. It's got to be in the best interest of his brother. It's got to be a fair price, but he doesn't necessarily have to get his blessing or permission.
I think it's more about the relationship than anything else.
Yeah, I have a brother I don't speak to anymore.
Yeah.
So
they're on good terms, and the brother they have had another brother that passed away, and the brother that's not the executor has dealt with that probate, and he's also dealt with the probate with his wife, and so he's kind of done with that process. So he, wanted his younger brother to do it. And, but I don't think that, I think that he's going to hold up or stall up the sale of the price or the sale of the house, excuse me.
What does brother want to do? He just wants the high price.
He wants fair market, and he understands where I'm coming from. But right now, collectively, they're at least 150,000 over what the fair market value is. And I've checked with appraisers and local realtors, and they think my offer was pretty spot on. But
why don't they list it?
I've told them that. I said, and told them, keep my number and call me back and they don't want to work with a real estate agent. They want to do a cash deal with somebody like us, or an investor.
Why don't they want to list it? Is it just timing? They don't want the hassle of showing the property and the uncertainty, or
I think a lot of that has to come from the other brother who's not the executor, and he's doesn't want to deal with the quote unquote headache of realtor, and he doesn't want to pay any closing costs, and he has that in his mind, but yet he still wants 150,000 more than what the actual property's worth.
Yeah, well, they can't have it both ways.
I know.
So if he wants to list at retail, then list at retail.
Well, what I was thinking is if I can go all in and buy him out of his interest and have more of a controlling stake in the property, then maybe we can, the executor and I, with 50% equity together, can go and present it maybe to a developer, because it's actually an area where it can be developed into a few different units, and it could be actually very valuable depending on the way you look at it. So.
Yeah, that could be an option. So you would make go to the brother that doesn't want to sell and pay him his price,
or so whatever his half share would be. So I would be in for actually less, but I would control 50% interest in the property.
Yeah, just
for numbers' sake, let's say I'm buying it at 200. If I got the best world scenario, well, I buy him out at 100, so now I'm only 100 in, but I control 50% of the equity, and I can possibly sell it off at a higher future price to a developer that would do something different with it and make the same profit or more.
Or you could possibly still do nothing with it, right? I mean, a half interest, you're still not controlling it. Mm-hmm. So if the property is worth 200, half of it, you'd probably want a discount because you don't have control.
Yeah, not 100% control. Yeah.
Yes, and you still have the risk. So I would work the brother as the executor and be like, hey, just do it. As long as it's in so he has a fiduciary duty to do what's best for the estate. So as long as he's following that, just make a decision and let the chips fall where they fall. So let brother be upset, but as long as it's in his best interest and he followed his fiduciary duty, what is there to be upset about?
Yeah. And I really think getting an attorney involved to kind of be the mediator in that whole process, knowing that not only do I have the best interest in them and I'm offering fair market value to them, but also the executor is doing what's in his best interest. Like I said, he's representing himself right now.
Yeah, so maybe he's just scared to do anything. Now, how long has it been?
Not long, actually. Maybe 8 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how did brothers get along before the passing?
So it was a sister that passed. Mother's passed for a while, then sister stayed in the property, and then she passed.
Okay.
But yeah, from what I can tell, they have a pretty good relationship. I didn't really get too deep on that, but
yeah, probate's interesting because of the emotion of it, of the loss. So sometimes it's like people want to hold their grudges, or it's like their last chance to kind of get at their sibling. So it's kind of like a control issue or a control thing sometimes.
I don't see that there, but like I said, I've met the let's call him Brother B, the non-executor. I've met him in person, but I've only spoken to Brother A over the phone, and Brother A and I have a really good relationship.
Okay, good. So how did you find this lead?
I can't tell you all my secrets.
Why not?
I'm kidding. No, so public notice is one of the best things. So it is too. Public notice SC for South Carolina, and then I can filter by county. And so I don't know, it kind of came to me in my sleep one night. I said, how do I find pre-probate or around probate properties and be first to market? And I'm like, well, the one thing that all of them have to do is they have to make notice on public newspaper. So
For the probate requirement, that's what you're talking about? It's when they publish? Okay, so you're watching that just like the creditors are, basically.
Correct.
So, cool. And then how's that working out for you?
It's slow because my county is only about 100,000 people, but I'm definitely first to market on all these leads.
Yeah, so just be a resource, offer to help, and you'll get some of the deals. But
I've already hooked them up with people that will do estate sales. I've hooked them up with a junk person because she did have a little bit of a collection issue. But I've definitely helped them with services outside of the sale of the house regarding to getting the house cleaned and whatever it needs to be.
Great. Are you a realtor?
No, not at all. Just investment.
Do you have any relationships with realtors that could list it if they want to go that route?
I do.
So I would work with the executor brother and just be like, hey, when you're ready to do something, let you know. So you can help him list it or you can buy it directly. But either way, it's up to him. It's up to him to do something. So
correct. Yeah, I've done
and
that.
Then just as long as it's and then just give them time. They're just the emotion of it too. So
I feel sometimes that's a good question. Is what is your typical So in South Carolina, we can actually petition to have the sale of the property within probate. So in order to settle the estate. Now, the heirs won't be paid until probate's actually settled, but we can actually petition a judge to buy it out of probate, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so I practice mostly in Arizona as far as where I do probates. I'm also licensed in California too. So in California, a lot of times you need the approval of the court for the sale of the house, or there's more court supervision in California. In Arizona, once they're appointed as a personal representative, then they can sell the house right then. They don't have to report to the court. They don't have to get the permission of all the beneficiaries, but they just have that fiduciary duty. They have to do what's best for all the beneficiaries.
Now, in which state did they appoint a referee?
That's California. So they have that referee, which is like an appraiser basically, and they give it a value.
Right.
And then the probate, especially if the house is sold for less than that value, you got to explain why it's being sold for less than that value.
Now, did they base that value on the assessor's value?
So the probate referee goes out and does it, or I think they just like drive by, but it's, I don't know exactly how they do it, but it's the controlling number in California.
Right.
That's also what the attorneys base their fees on too.
Okay. Now, do they only use those referees when there is an argument against the value of the property from another heir, or is it just automatic every time they use a referee?
It's automatic in California. It's a requirement.
Okay.
So
I was reading on our code of laws, and I can see where there is a petition, and at some points, of course, it's obviously for us, it's only $25,000 or under, where you don't need to, or where you can sell it outside of probate. But otherwise, I believe you need to get the judge's approval, and in some cases, they assign a referee, but it's not very clear to me in what scenarios they do that.
Interesting. Do you have a relationship with the probate attorney?
Barely. Yeah, like I said, it's a very small town. I mean, I would say 98% of the transactions here are done traditionally, so it's a little bit difficult to find one that can wrap their head around more creative kind of solutions.
Yeah. So have you met those attorneys? Have you been in their office?
I have. Well, I'm good friends with one of their paralegals, so we talk kind of all the time in a side messenger. But no, sitting down with him, no, not yet. I figured I would pay him, $500 to sit down with him and have a conversation for an hour if he was open to it. But
the paralegal is even better than the attorney, right?
Right.
We're getting in with a paralegal and showing them the problems that you can solve for their clients, because that's probably falling on the paralegal's back.
Sure.
Like dealing with family members and things like that. The attorney, I would say, bring him a probate case.
Yeah, that's
But
what I'm trying to do.
if you're calling on once they publish, it sounds like they've already opened probate in those cases. So either they already have an attorney or they started it on their own.
Yeah, so he started on his own, and one of the things that I told him, as well as working with us, was that the real estate attorney that we use also has a probate division that we would be more than happy to pay for whatever fees to make everything a very smooth transaction for him. So, one of the benefits of working with us is that we can provide that legal service as well.
Yeah, nice, nice. So I work with wholesalers that way, where if they have someone that needs probate, I'll agree to be paid my fees when the house closes. So so the seller still pays for it, but I just provide some flexibility. And then usually I like a deposit to get started on the probate. So what they've been doing is on the sales contract, they write in that the earnest money can be used to pay the probate fees.
Right, I have seen that.
So that way it helps people get an attorney without coming out of pocket. So and then the attorneys are going to like that, right? Because then they're getting legal work. That's what they want to do. And I would say that's better than hiring them for $500 for their time. If you go that route, hiring them, just be really clear what you're doing, because they're going to be upset if they're meeting with you thinking that you're a client that needs work, but then they find out you're actually just a real estate investor that wants to develop a relationship.
No, absolutely. Yeah, I have had conversations with other probate attorneys outside of my county, and I open up with, I have a client, I'm a real estate investor, I have a client I'm trying to purchase a home from. I think they need some counseling from probate. Is it okay if I send them to you?
Good. And then it's better you bring them to them.
Yeah.
So, well, great, Penn. Yeah, sounds like you're on the right path. I like what you're doing out there. So
I don't know if there's anybody else in the queue, but I do have another probate that I'm working on. That's more of a relationship question if you have time.
Yeah. Let's hear it. There's no one else in the queue right now. So if anyone else wants to jump in here, jump in here. I'll keep answering Penn's questions.
So I have another sister A and B heirs property that they need to go through probate. Haven't started it. They're in tax redemption now. And so October, their house will go up for sale through tax auction. And the appointed PR, I not court appointed PR. The person, they've been labeled as the PR in the will.
Is it one of the sisters?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so one sister is the PR, and there's one other sister who's the beneficiary?
Yes.
Okay, got it.
And the PR can't produce the original will. And she's has a lot of health complications. But she knows contacts at an attorney's office where she could start probate, and just hasn't done it, and just refuses to take that next step, even though she's already confirmed that our offer for her house is solid, and she's very interested, and actually has accepted it verbally.
How long has it been since the person passed?
Okay, so he passed away, I think it's coming on 3 years now, but he's been out of the house for about 8 years.
But that's a while, 3 years. So you're not really talking to any one of them yet, or any one of the sisters?
No, I've had a relationship with, in between the two sisters, I've had a relationship over a year. In the beginning, I was calling them and I wasn't very familiar with probate. So I was just like, okay, well, get yourself in probate, let's talk. And now I'm like, well, I know a little bit more, so I can speak to them and try to guide them in the right direction and what's going to happen and how we need to get this deal happen. And just
which sister have you been talking to?
Well, in the beginning, I was talking to the heir, and we had a great relationship. And then I figured out most recently, I think within the last 6 months, that her sister is the actual will appointed PR. And so I've been speaking to her for the last 6 months pretty consistently. On a weekly basis.
Okay, so here's what I would do. So to the PR, you say you don't want to get sued by your sister. You know, it's been 3 years, so she's starting to face some liability.
Okay.
And then to the other sister, the beneficiary, the question is are you ready to sue your sister? It's time. 3 years is time enough.
They definitely hate each other. And when I stopped talking to Sister B, the heir, it was only because Sister A told me that she was saying that I'm trying to manipulate her and do all these things, and I laid it out for her, and I said, you judge me. How honest have I been with you? I've been straightforward with you. I've given you the valuation. I mean, and she was like, I actually do trust you. I just want to let you know what she's been saying. And so I was like, okay, well, there's no reason for me to talk to her anymore because she's not PR. She's not, so I just kind of like ignored her,
So go back to the one that's not PR and see if you can get a contract with her.
Okay.
And then you bring it to the other sister and say, hey, look, I'm already in agreement with your sister. And this is a way for you to be done and to be a good personal representative. Or if not, it's at the time where your sister's, talking to lawyers and looking at other options. I don't want you guys to go through that.
But that's going to be nothing more than just a LOI. I mean, there's no legal structure behind.
Right. Yeah. So, but
it'll be a threat, I guess.
Yeah, and then that's a way that you can introduce that other sister to an attorney that can represent her as a beneficiary.
Okay.
I don't do a lot of this, but people call a lot and they say, what are my rights as a beneficiary? So we have a small fee, like between $500 and $1,000, where I'll look at whatever they have and kind of advise them on the situation. And in that situation, I would tell that sister that first we can start with a letter reminding your sister of her duty and give her like a deadline. And then if she doesn't follow the deadline, they need to be ready for the next action, which is filing a complaint, a formal complaint through the probate process.
That's not a bad idea. I never thought about presenting her with a letter of her fiduciary responsibility. That's a good idea, especially with a nice letterhead from an attorney. Yeah, that could work.
Yeah. So, the first is nice, but with the deadline. And then when that deadline hits, like make sure they're ready to file something, because attorneys aren't scared of mean letters or threatening letters. I just throw them away. It's like, all right, unless it's a court order, unless it's something in court where I have to respond, right, forget it. So, that's how I'd approach it. Okay. And then, good luck, Penn. I got someone else in the queue, but thanks for joining us tonight, and good luck. Keep us posted in the Maat Legal Facebook or YouTube. Let us know the progress when you get those deals.
I will, man. You're awesome. Thank you so much for the content and the answers.
All right, take care. All right, we got Michael Fisher. How are you doing, sir?
Doing good. How are you?
Doing great. So this is fun. So yeah, it's much easier for me to answer questions this way than typing out in the messages.
Right. Yeah.
Where are you located, Michael?
I'm located up in Redding, California, about 2 hours north of Sacramento.
Okay, I got a case there.
Oh,
I got to go all the way. Yeah, it's Shasta County.
Yeah.
So it's very different from the cases I have in Los Angeles County.
Really?
That small little town, the judge is like, why aren't you here in person? And so I had to drag my butt all the way up there.
Oh,
so yeah, Sacramento is the closest place that I can fly into, and then about a 2-hour drive.
Yeah.
It's beautiful up there, though.
It is nice. There's a lot of recreational outdoor stuff to do.
Nice. Well, glad we're connecting. I'll have to hit you up and let you know. You have to let me know what I need to do next time I'm in town there.
Absolutely. I will absolutely let you know.
So I'm like, all right, I got to be there for a hearing, but I'm going to at least enjoy the beautiful scenery.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we got lakes nearby and hiking everywhere. It's great.
Yeah. So what's going on? What do you have a specific scenario?
Well, I'm pretty new to investing in all this, but I've found two vacant properties that are very obviously vacant, overgrown. Windows are open, you can see through it and everything. I've skip traced the properties and found that the owners, as far as I know, are deceased. Um, on this one specific property, uh, I ended up talking to a family friend that is an agent, and she found out that the property is in a trust. Um, I just don't know how to. I've tried to reach out to family members with no answer. So I was just curious, what angle should I tackle this?
I think you're going the right way. So contact family members because they're likely the beneficiaries of that trust.
Okay.
And then you need to locate that trust and figure out who the trustee is, who is the one that has the authority.
Got it. Okay.
So you figured out who the family members of the deceased are?
Yeah. Yes, for the most part. When I skip traced it, the wife passed away back in 2006, but the husband, the owner, it doesn't say he's deceased, but it says like 90 years of age. And it says the last place he lived was in Medford, Oregon. And I was like, so there's probably a good chance he's not around anymore.
Yeah, so these properties are vacant, you said? So you physically, you saw them, and so no one's in there to knock on the door and see what's going on.
Right, yeah, all the windows are open. I can see right through it.
Yeah, so maybe the old man's still alive and just doesn't care.
Okay, yeah.
So you got to locate a family member and someone who's interested.
Okay, yeah. And then you're saying with California and the court process, is it a little more...
I know some attorneys up there that I'm dealing with. One actually respect. She's really good. I'd actually recommend her. But because I'm seeing in that little county, it's like there's only like a couple of attorneys that do a lot of the cases. But the challenges in California is that probate referee is going to value it, and they're going to want to see it sold for somewhere around that. So it's hard to kind of lock up your deal and then take it through probate.
Right. Yeah.
So you want to have a good relationship with the attorney and be on the team as a solution. Are you a realtor as well?
No.
So do you have a relationship with the realtor?
I do, yeah.
So what's nice as an attorney is I can get paid legal fees from realtors.
Okay.
So when I work with realtors, I can still get paid that way. But unless you have a license, you're typically not allowed to do that. But it's a good way to, I guess, just network with realtors that can continue other deals.
Okay, yeah. And I was going to ask if you take deals out here, but sounds like you already have one up here.
Yeah. So I don't do too many probates, but I could help you find someone there. And depending on the situation, I might be able to co-counsel with the local attorney.
Okay.
So, but part of the challenge with California probate is if it's below like $500,000, there's a lot of attorneys that aren't interested because of the statutory percentage fees. It's at an amount, where it's a lot of work and you don't get paid for like a year. So it's kind of like, pass.
Yeah,
so well, good luck to you, Michael. And are we on Instagram? I can ask you about places on Reading, places where I need to go.
Yeah, you just message me on Instagram, so I'll absolutely tell you all the great places.
All right, take care and good luck. So, all right, we got Adam. Welcome, sir.
Hey, hi. Thanks for doing this. I really appreciate it. Sorry if there's an echo or anything like that.
Sounds good to me. And yeah, it's fun. Okay. Where are you located, Adam?
I'm in Denver, Colorado, and I've been wholesaling for, it's going on about 10 years now.
And like a veteran.
Yeah, except for probates. I did a few probates kind of by accident in 2016, 2017, when I was doing acquisitions with the company. And then now I'm going pretty hard on the marketing for it. And the biggest complaint or like hiccup I get is I can't sell the house right now. And I'm like, wait a minute. To my understanding, I remember you can sell the house at any time in probate. So is that true in Colorado, or what is that like time frame on when an executor or personal representative can sell the house?
Yeah, so I'm not a Colorado attorney, so I don't know their specific time frame. But in Arizona, as soon as they're appointed as a personal representative, they can sell it. Now, in California, depending on the type of probate, sometimes they need approval from the court to sell it. Now, who are you speaking with on this, Adam?
As far as an attorney I have? Oh, yeah, the personal representative.
And did you just cold call them? Found them on the probate list?
I send them letters. I actually send handwritten letters. It's a little tedious, but it gets a good response. And I send them a letter letting them know, hey, I just wanted to see if you're going to sell anytime soon. And it's one of the biggest things I get. It's either they have a realtor already listing it, and so it's like, hey, it's going to be really hard to get that deal, or they tell me, well, we have to wait for the notice to creditors to go through. It's going to take like 90 days. I was like, I never really heard that coming up. And I'm guessing it's the attorneys trying to build up fees, or I don't know.
They may not just understand the process. You know, so they can sell before. Like if this was Arizona, they can sell before, but I don't like to make a distribution until that creditor period's over. But they can switch from, you know, instead of the estate holding a house as an asset, they can sell it, then the estate holds cash, which is much easier to deal with. And that's kind of how I got involved in real estate. From, you know, being a probate attorney, I like the speed and convenience of cash, because it's hard to split a house 3 ways. It's hard to pay creditors. It's hard to pay bills and debts with just a house.
Okay. So my biggest job should be obviously getting attorneys I can work with in Colorado, but also not just looking at it as an objection, but helping educate them on, once I understand how it actually works.
Yeah, so it may just be an objection, you know, where maybe there's other reasons why they can't sell, or other things. Do you have a relationship with any probate attorneys?
No probate attorneys. Realtors, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, but
So
no probate attorneys.
So you need a good relationship with a probate attorney. And you know the best way to do that?
Oh man. Oh no, actually.
There's one guaranteed way that always works.
Oh snap.
You go through the front door and you bring them a client. You bring them exactly what they're looking for.
Okay. I got you. It almost felt like a trick question, so I was like overthinking it a little bit.
Yeah. That always works. So I'm doing this Q&A today because I get tons of DMs and questions, you know, like, you know, hey, if you have a second, or, you know, can you help with this? But attorneys are getting hit up all the time. So,
oh my gosh.
You know, so if you're trying to, you know, just reach out to a probate attorney and, you know, tell them what you can do, a lot of times they don't want to hear it, or, you know, they're, you know, or they don't believe you. I'm speaking myself, you know, like I hear so many people that tell me how awesome they are and how they're going to solve my problems. But, you know, then I call 2 weeks later and they don't answer their phone, or they don't call back, or they've moved on, you know, they're not in real estate anymore. So
it's kind of like, as a wholesaler, I tell a buyer, yeah, I know how to do deals. Okay, what you got now? Well, nothing. They're like, well, okay, come to me when you got a deal.
Right. The buyer doesn't care until you have a deal, right?
Yes.
So you got to, and then once you have a deal, then it sounds like you got the experience where you're able to find buyers now, right?
Yeah,
So.
I definitely have buyers. It's just getting more into probate. I was like, oh shoot, like I'm new to like this process and how it works. It's barely been a month since I got back into it.
Okay, and then where are you prospecting?
I prospect the 5 major counties in Denver, and then Larimer County in Fort Collins.
But what are you doing in those counties to find probate leads?
Pulling the notice to creditors online from public notices.
Okay. So at that point, they've already opened the probate. If you can try to do the pre-probate. So, you know, different data. So, you know, for my law firm, I've been doing a mailer to a pre-probate list. But I've learned this from you guys. I've learned this from my wholesaler friends. How to do that. But on the law end, I want people before they've hired an attorney. So there's companies like Successors Data, where supposedly the pre-probate list, it just means someone died and they own real estate. So they may or may not need a probate because it could be in a trust or there could be another owner. But the fact that they own property and someone died, there's a good chance that it'll be moving. And that's an opportunity to make relationships with attorneys. Because if you can find someone ahead of time. Now, once someone comes in to my law firm and I'm doing the probate for them, I always ask, even the first time they call, I always ask if they have a realtor. And a lot of times they always do, right? Or someone's already talked to them, or there's a neighbor, there's someone in the family. So I give my standard warning of, be careful with realtors because they may be, feeding you information that's not exactly true, promising you a high price. But as soon as you sign their listing agreement, it doesn't matter what it actually sells for. They still get paid their commission. So I always like to start with a cash offer. I think there's no better indication of value of what someone's willing to pay cash, and it doesn't hurt anything, right? So I say, before they hire a realtor, you might as well explore that. And if that's kind of in the ballpark, then they're done. Or if they still want to go retail, then I encourage them to work with my people, people that I already trust. I'm in the Phoenix market mostly, and there's a ton of sharks there. I'm sure Colorado's probably the same way. I heard today, I listened to One Rental at a Time, Mike Zuber, shout out to him. But
he has a great podcast.
Yeah, so did you hear this morning, I guess Colorado has 3 of the top cities, 3 of the hottest, I guess, like the fastest.
The most, I know it's the most demand from supply, and then also investor activity too, if I remember right. For people wanting to do cash deals and wholesaling and things like that too.
Yeah, so it's nice if you can find the deals and bring them to a probate attorney, and that's how you get on the probate attorney's good side. Where first you'll get to know them that way by bringing them a legal client that needs the type of work that they do, and then make that transaction easy for them, right? You be their go-to for the family member. If they need documents that need to be signed, you're the one taking it to the family members. If they need personal property dealt with, you're organizing estate sales, and they're like, wow, this Adam is awesome. Like he actually knows this business. And
that's a great way to look at it. I love that. It's a great way to look at it.
Because when people come into me, they call my law firm, I say, don't answer your phone. I say, when we file this probate, you're going to get bombarded. So just be ready for it, but don't answer. I got people that I trust, and, we can connect you with my team because I don't want you to get taken advantage of. Because it's probably the same thing in Colorado. There's a lot of sharks out there, right? Where they say one thing, and then they wait till they moved out of the house, and then the day of closing, they can't perform.
I've only worked with like the same 8 to 12 buyers the whole 10 years because it's so hard to find consistency, people who are reliable.
Yeah, is that an issue in Colorado? Wholesalers locking things up and not performing?
It really is.
Yeah, probably everywhere. I think that's why some regulations coming because of those bad actors. So. But yeah, see if you can develop some relationships with the probate attorneys. And a client's the best way. That always works. I would say the second best thing is try to get to their paralegals. So if you walk into their office, bring them some candy or some donuts or cookies.
That works. That really does.
And
I did that with title companies before.
Yeah, and target the paralegals. Just say, hey, who's the probate paralegal? I brought these cookies. I want to make sure she gets one. And then if you have a chance to talk to her, it's like, hey, I know you're doing all the hard work. Attorneys like working with me because I make their lives easier. So, and then that's it. Just real easy. Don't try to get in front of the attorney. Just a good a good interaction. Short. Don't take their time. And follow up. Do that. Pick 5 different probate attorneys. Do that a couple times, and you'll probably get at least 1 relationship out of that, if not 2. And it's just kind of a timing issue. Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe the first time they think you're crazy, but they like the cookies you brought, so they're not hating you.
I at least got on their radar. Yeah.
Yeah. And then maybe next time you come back again, and again they're happy to see you because you got some other gift for them. And then when it comes up though, but if you walk into their office, they go, oh my gosh, yeah, we just have a situation where, we got this hoarder house and it's a mess. Can you help us out with that?
Yes, and then that's when now there's less effort with having to push for the deals because I'm bringing them clients, but then they're going to start, obviously they're getting contacted by people who are like, hey, family member just died, no will, what do I do? And that's how I get on their good side to get first. It's kind of like a pocket listing with like a realtor. I end up getting like pocket listings from a probate attorney.
Yeah, it's a good way to look at it. So, because when I get, by being involved in the real estate some, I look at the leads different from my law firm. They might not need legal work, but if they have a house that needs to be sold or some sort of real estate transaction, then that's, I now have a network of people that can convert those for me. And if nothing else, just make me look good, right? Where someone called my law office and they got good help. They got connected to someone that helped solve their problem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you got my mind spinning with ideas of being like, oh yeah, like why wasn't I thinking about that? It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Yeah, well, good luck to you, Adam. Thanks for joining. I got to sign off here. I got to go get my kids. But this is fun. I think we'll do this again. I've had there's other people that couldn't attend today that want to attend. So next week, I think I'll probably do the same thing. So if you missed the live,
it's extremely valuable.
So, well, great. Yeah, it's fun. Glad to help out the real estate community, and there's a lot of value you provide to attorneys. So that's what I'm trying to show attorneys as well, that by developing relationships with real estate professionals, it makes their life easier. It makes them look better as an attorney, and there's ways to earn more money, not just with legal fees, but there's also ways where they can kind of expand their business. So,
well, thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate it.
Well, thanks, Adam. Thanks everyone else that tuned in, and I'll see you next week.